Songena kanja, songena kanja, songena kanja, songena kanja. Skopele Mike sbuyele makaya tinas. Skopele Mike sbuyele makaya tinas. Asongena kanja, asongena kanja, asongena kanja, asongena kanja. Monza.
Thank you, comrades. Thank
Segubanini awa sabalasa Sambano Michaelis Sambano President Snamasho
Thank you, comrades. We move on. The next position is that of First Deputy President. And again, in this instance, this position was elected unopposed, and we have Comrade Nyameka Makanda. Comrade, please come forward. Thank you, comrades. Our third position is that of the second deputy president. You will recall that we did have an election in this instant as the position was contested by two candidates. The statistical report in terms of this voting is as follows. We had a total of 576 eligible voters and a total of 560 votes cast. I'm glad to announce that we had no spoiled ballots. Congrats, comrades. So it was a 97% poll. In terms of the distribution of votes in the order they appeared on the ballot paper, Comrade Patrick Babsi Makafane received, I haven't finished. Comrade Babsi Makafane received 295 votes, whilst Comrade Amos Monyela received 265. So your new deputy president is Comrade Patrick Babsi Makafula. Is Comrade Makafani here? Comrade, please come forward. Oh, there.
Baba idelezela. Baba idelezela. Ebona balungile. Efona balungile. Ndelenzela. Awuyinde. Tiyetu. Ndelenzela. As we move to our places, Makaban.
Thanks, comrades. We now announce the incumbent for National Treasurer and elected unopposed. We have Comrade Khomotso Makupola. Comrade Khomotso.
Asobalega, 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 asobale, asobale se pam asobalega, asobalega, asobalega. Asobale, wala asobalega, asobalega, asat amagwala sobale agwala sobaleka asobaleka asobu asobale asobaleka asobaleka amagwala sobale asobaleka 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 amagwala sobale asobaleka asobaleka sobaleka sisamagwala sole asatobole awasobaleka sobaleka amagwala sobale asatobole awasobaleka sobaleka 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 ona sobaleka sobaleka awapala sobale awa sobaleka 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 moto tata homo sobale awa sobaleka sobaleka awutata womoto tata awa sobaleka sobaleka awutata womoto asobaleka asobaleka amagala moto tamoto asatubo aw atahomoto tatahomoto asa aw tatahomoto yelele atahomoto tahomoto sobaleka sobaleka awatata homo satubole sepamu satubole sepamu.
Thank you, comrades. The next position, comrades, we have the position of General Secretary, also elected unopposed. We've got Comrade Zola Knowledge Sapeta. Comrade Zola.
Awulendawo Esegoyo Stolus kokele no pala Awulendawo Esegoyo Stolus kokele no pala Lendawo Esegoyo Awuskokele no pala wetu Awulendawo Esegoyo Awuskokele no pala Sikebenga sendoda Lendawo Esikuyo Sayisaba lendawo Lendawo Esikuyo Sayisaba lendawo Lendawo Esikuyo Sayisaba lendawo Lendawo Esikuyo
Thank you, comrades. I'm almost at the end of my contract. The next position, before I give you the last position, comrades, let me thank the leadership of Nihau for having enlisted the services of the elections agency in assisting you to conduct these elections, and also thank the team on my left for observing the process. In terms of the certification of the outcome, I'm going to ask one of the provincial observers to declare. Yes, before I announce, I'm just making the announcement to say the comrades are going to declare the elections, and then I will give you the outcome, and then they will declare. In terms of the last position, we have elected unopposed Comrade December Mavoso as the Deputy General Secretary. Thank you, comrades.
Asibesabi wemasotha. Asibesabi wematela kufa. Asibesabi wemasotha. Asibesabi wematela kufa. Shona pa. Upindu shona pesu. Hala. Yini. Oza pumala. Shona pantsu upindu shona pesu. Sobabona. Ukuthi bemekanja. Asibesabi wemasotha. Asibesabi wematela kufa. Asibesabi wemasotha. Asibesabi wematela kufa. Shona phansi umuntu shona phezulu. Sobabona ukuthi bemekanja. Awushona phansi. Qala ama-captain. Sobabona ukuthi bemekanja. Shona phansi. Sobabona. Hey bafana bake. Esofele manyale ukufa kuyasenze. Hey bafana bake. Esofele manyale ukufa kuyasenze. Hey bafana bake. Tiwele manyale.
Thank you, comrades. I'm now going to hand over to the provincial observers. Thank you.
Thanks, Comrade Muntenyan. The provincial observers wish to confirm the results of the elections as announced by the election and wish to thank all the delegates and the election committee for the work that have been done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, comrades. Congratulations to the leadership of Nihau, elected by the 12th National Congress. I am now going to hand over to the first Deputy President of Nihau to take over the chairing and the proceeding of this Congress. Deputy President Nyameka Matanda, I am handing over now to the leadership. Thank you very much, comrades.
Unit makabane ixesha paka mawene hau ixesha paka mawene hau ixesha lisonde paka mawene hau amandla long live Nehau, long live Nehau, long live amandla. Thanks very much to the President. who was leading the session. Let me take this opportunity, comrade, to thank our election team for the work well done. And I think, comrade, on behalf of the newly elected national office bearers, comrade, we want to thank the election together with the observers. And also, comrade, thank Gates the way they have conducted on this particular time. We want to thank you, comrade. We are continuing, therefore, with our program. We are to break for now for lunch. Wait, comrades. Wait, comrade. We are to break for lunch now. If you check your program, we are saying at 1 o'clock we should be going for lunch. Okay, no, it's fine. Okay. Okay. No, it's fine, comrade. I'm being corrected. Thanks very much, comrade. At this point in time, we will call upon the General Secretary to present to this Congress, comrade, the declaration. Thanks very much.
Amandla, Amandla, awethu, awethu. Bencela siphakame comrade so that I read the declaration. Thank you very much, First Deputy President. I suppose in a process we'll be committing mistakes, find ourselves calling you second first, President first. But with time we will get it right. We, the 594 delegates of our giant public sector union, NEHAU, representing 279,465 members across the public administration, post-school education system, parastatals, healthcare system, and in both private and public welfare sectors, from 1,732 branches, have now come to the conclusion of the highest decision-making body of our union. Our 12th National Congress was a resounding success, and it was graced by speakers, delegates from our fraternal formation of the Alliance and the broader mass democratic movement. The Congress delegates enjoyed a fitting celebration of the 100th anniversary of the vanguard of the South African working class, the SACP. Congress received inspiration messages of support from our internal friends in WFTU, TUI, Public Service and Allied, as well as from the class-oriented trade union movement in Africa, Europe, Latin America, Middle East, and Asia. Once again, this underscores the growing international stature of our union and intertwined struggles of the radical trade union movement against monopoly capital and their bourgeoisie governments, as well as in the fight against imperialism and its labor austerity aristocrats in the yellow unions. Certainly, none can contradict us in this country if we claim that we are a leading force with regards to our international solidarity work and the proletarian internationalism in general. Our international pillar outlines a program for mobilization to support the anti-capitalist and anti-imperialist struggles around the world, including our ongoing solidarity with Cuba, Palestine, Swaziland, Zimbabwe, Western Sahara, and the Basque Country. The 12th National Congress took place under the shadow of the COVID-19 pandemic, as a result of which over 800 million people in the world face hunger, 220 million are unemployed, and countless frontline workers, especially public service, that have perished in active duty. In this regard, Congress pledges solidarity with the families and their friends, as well as our own comrades amongst the frontline workers whose lives have been sacrificed over the past 20 months. This unfolding catastrophe only aggravated the multi-crises that were already engulfing global capitalism since the outbreak of a large-scale financial meltdown more than a decade ago. Countless research reports increasingly confirm that capitalist civilization has clearly reached its absolute limits in terms of its logic of exploitation of human labor and the destruction of the planetary ecology. Countless multilateral international meetings, including the COP26 that is presently taking place in Glasgow, show that the capitalist system is unable to extricate itself from these crises, and that bourgeoisie government have neither the commitment nor the capacity to place the well-being of the people before profits. Hence, whilst we support measures to achieve carbon neutrality, we reiterate what, as part of the WFT, we have been saying all along, that the present existential emergency that is facing humanity is not climate change, but system change. A more rational organization of society is not only possible, but is also necessary for the survival of humanity. We have noted that in the midst of this grim reality that has been the re-emergence of fascism in several regions, especially in the global north, which serves monopoly capital by deflecting attention from the attacks on the working class in scapegoating migrant workers. At the interstate level, we noted the renewal military and economic aggression on the part of the US-led Western imperialism, especially against Russia, China, Cuba, Bolivia, and Venezuela. Nonetheless, despite these despairing developments, we are inspired by the defiant resurgence of resistance by the organized working class and the rural masses in almost all regions of the world, including in the global north itself. Latin America remains the front line of these raging clashes in which imperialism is determined to block and reverse the tide of the Bolivarian revolutions that swept across the region a decade ago, using networks of counter-revolutionary forces in Peru, Brazil, English Guyana, Argentina, Chile, and Ecuador. Our continent has seen a new wave of instability and needless mass killings in the recent years, as highlighted by the bloody war in the Horn of Africa between Ethiopia and Eritrea. Military coups in West and Central Africa, including Sudan, terrorist banditry in Mozambique, and the rural suppression of the democratic forces and freedom-loving people of Swaziland. It would concern the furthering deepening of the already crisis level of unemployment, poverty, and inequality in our country. These combined crises are mainly suffered by our young people and women who bear the worst brunt of the crisis of social production. At the root of this stagnant and monopoly-dominated structure of our economy, whose semi-colonial fixtures continue to produce the racialized, gendered, and spatial inequalities of apartheid era. The socio-economic effects of the COVID-19 pandemic only serve to escalate to new heights what was already a persistent tragic fate imposed upon by the masses of our people. The appalling socio-economic realities, combined with the weakened state of the ANC-led alliance and the deviation from the perspective of the radical second phase of our transitions, underscore our conclusion that the national democratic revolution is indeed stagnant at the risk of being derailed and our movement being defeated. We reiterate the consistent message of our previous congresses that the masses of our people are running out of patience, and the ANC as the leader of society is running out of time. The sustained downward spiral in the electoral turnout and the corresponding fall in the ANC electoral support underscore the current untenable and unsustainable neoliberal trajectory. However, this despairing state of affairs and the state of the national democratic revolution shall not break our resolve. We remain resolute in insisting and fighting for the implementation of a radical socio-economic content of the national democratic revolution. We insist that the working class and the rural masses are not helpless. They are not without their own class interests and practically political agencies to change the present circumstances. Hence, we issue an appeal to our federation, COSATU, and our vanguard party, the SACP, to move with speed in practicalizing the joint commitment to build the left popular front. To unite and converge with this spontaneous and disparate struggle of the working class and the rural masses for land, housing, water, sanitation, basic income grant, and the general delivery struggles. To strengthen the leading role of the working class women in the struggle against patriarchy and gender-based violence and against crime in general. As a contribution to building this working class-led movement, our part, we shall spearhead the resistance of the public servants to the government's offensive against collective government and against collective bargaining and austerity measures that plunge the masses of our people in deeper misery. During the proceedings of this Congress, the new Minister of Finance, Ino Kodongwana, in total, disrespect the collective bargaining processes publicly stated that as far as the Treasurer is concerned, in the coming 2022 to 2023 financial year, there shall be no punishable salary increase for public servants, except the possibility for a 1.5% pay progression. Therefore, Congress wants to send out a clear message to government that we remain resolute in our rejection of the petty allowance in substitution for a real wage increase. That we are a union of workers whose basic reason for existence in the first place is to improve the workers' salaries, to reduce the rate of exploitation, and to improve the condition of services for the members and public service workers in general. We are saying that the suppressive condition of the COVID-19 pandemic and the declared state of disaster shall not last forever. At the right time, we shall mobilize to unleash our full might to challenge the austerity measures, not only in relation to the cuts on the public service wage bill, but also on the draconian cuts in the provision of the public service on which tens of millions of our people depend on. Despite the offensive against collective bargaining and the declining unionization in the public sector, as NEHAU, we can proudly claim that the state of our union remains solid and unshaken. This is the steady strengthening of COSATU and the further expansion of WFTU in our continent and the world over. Throughout the turbulent times experienced by our federation and some of its affiliates, we are proud to say that we have ideological identity, our democratic organizational practice, and maintain unity within our ranks. Our primary organizational challenge going forward is to close the ranks and to deepen connection with the rank and file of the union, to expand our presence in a wider public sector and increase our membership in the areas in which we already have presence. This Congress was the culmination of the democratic cycle of the organizational renewal that started at the branch level in 2018. And so, we are now armed with the new resolutions to deepen worker control and internal democracy practices as we build on the organizational achievements and progress reported at this Congress. Our organizational priorities and the task of strengthening workplace organization shall remain as our overarching preoccupation in the face of the government-led offensive against collective bargaining throughout constitutional and operational structures and at all levels of our national union. This is because members are the lifeblood of the union, and this is a moment when they need their union the most, amidst the deterioration of their incomes and the benefits as a result of the rolling wage freezes. The activity reports presented at this Congress confirm that we have made some advances in internalizing the alignment and synchronization of our work on major organizational priorities across our constitutional and operational structures. More work needs to be undertaken to improve and address the existing unevenness in performance of our national services in provinces and regions to strengthen our workplace organization and in servicing members in branches. Our influence in the terrain of socio-economic transformation, especially with regard to the transformation of healthcare system and the post-education system, stands out, as amplified by the critical role that we have played in shaping the outcomes of the Presidential Health Summit and in our unique capacity to mobilize for a shutdown in the technical and vocational education and training sector. Higher education remains a highly contested terrain in which we need to consolidate our presence and take up the fight for our long-standing demand for centralized bargaining. The rulings of the judicial system on the fate of community health care workers is not the end of the road, as we still can depend on our growing organizational power to force concessions and win our demands from the employer. We proclaim that over the medium term, the National Union shall underpin its work around our battle cry, strengthening workplace organization to defend collective bargaining, deepening class consciousness, and advance internationalism. To enrich the 4 pillars of our SPF and to set out our program of action, Congress passed resolution and adopted the Commission's outcome that, amongst others, include the following: reaffirmed our perspective that BRICS is a potential exists, must be the